still talking about the usurpation, and he says he slipped in, which means what?
Sex.
Well, not yet. The first time they say it, he says he slipped into the throne. I was in Germany, they needed a king, he was the king's brother, so he slipped in that way and took the throne.
While the old king's body was still warm.
While the old king's body was still warm, right. And then Rosencrantz said, which reminds me, and he says, well, it would. So obviously, just like David's mind immediately, their minds immediately go there. And so Rosencrantz says, I don't want to be personal. Guildenstern, as Hamlet says, it's common knowledge. And then your mother's marriage, and then they repeat, he slipped in. Now fully acknowledging the sexual connotation of that term. So then you have the whole, his body was still warm, blah, blah, blah. But what I want to get to is at the very bottom of the page. It says, incest to adultery. And then Rosencrantz says, would you go so far? And then Guildenstern says, never. Now, what's the joke there? I want someone to explain the joke. Incest, what's the incest?
Hamlet sleeping with his mother.
Okay, maybe. Whose incest do you think they're talking about? I mean, although we've talked about the fact that in many different versions of Hamlet, there is an incestuous relationship played out between Hamlet and his mother. But here, incest to adultery, who are they talking about?
The uncle.
The fact that he was the brother-in-law. So they're saying it was both incest, being like a brotherly type role, sleeping with a sisterly type role, sisterly type character. So incest to adultery, and then Rosencrantz says, would you go so far? What do you think he means, would you go so far?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe to get power. I was thinking he meant, would you go so far as to call it incest? Because it's clearly adultery, right? Or maybe he's questioning either of those terms. But he's saying, like, would you go so far as to call it? And then Guildenstern says never. Meaning, oh no, I wouldn't commit incest. So it's just sort of funny, right? So it's another instance of them playing on their words. Okay, let's go back to the reading. We're at to sum up.
To sum